Hello, my name is Iron, and this is Iron's Tech. Welcome back to the channel. Today I wanted to give a quick review on these. These are the WH-CH720n headphones from Sony, and also a little bit about why I have found myself coming back to these headphones. Previously I've done a video about these, which are the WH-CH720 earbuds. I tried these out for a week in place of Sony XM4s, and I did a separate video about what I think and if they could excuse me, replace my XM4s permanently. During that week I had a friend who wanted to try out some noise cancelling headphones. So as I was using the earbuds, I was like, okay, well, you can borrow my XM4s and see what you think. And over the course of that week, she ended up really liking the XM4s and offered to buy them from me. So I ended up saying, yes, okay. So I sold my XM4s. I used some of the money to cover the cost of these earbuds, and then I had some money left. So I thought, well, okay, maybe I'll get some other headphones. One issue I had with the XM4s is I found them a little bit heavy. They were a little bit fatiguing on my neck and on the top of my head, and I thought, well, all right, let's get something cheaper. So I went around various shops. A popular one in Japan is Big Camera. I went around looking at Big Camera, tried lots of headphones, and I found myself coming back to the same two pairs, which were these, which I have actually had before, and also there was some Audio Technica. I think Audio Technica was M20X BT. I tried those as well, and I kept coming back to those two over and over again, mostly because of the sound of them. I ended up choosing these because they are lighter, and after a little bit of EQing, I preferred the sound on these Sonys. So I mentioned having these before. I did own a blue pair of these before, and I ended up returning them because of a problem with the right ear cup. These, so far, don't seem to have any issues like that. The problem I had was in one part of the ear cup, towards the front. The foam or something inside was noticeably harder than the rest of the ear cup, and it was causing a little bit of uncomfortable pressure on the right side of my head. And then I also noticed that it was the bass response was a little bit different between both of the ear cups, and the right and the left ear cups didn't have the same response. And it was, again, that was just adding a little bit of discomfort, especially with really bass heavy music. You've got one driver pushing out a bit more bass than the other. It can make the music sound funny, and it makes your ears hurt after a while, actually. These though, I haven't found the same problem. I haven't noticed that at all so far since using these. So it may have just been a bad unit I picked up the first time, or maybe there was a bad batch of them, because the ones I tried in the shop did have the same problem initially. But this particular set, I've had no problems like that whatsoever. Okay, let's jump into some tech specs and just break down what these are, what they've got, and what they can do. Okay, so WH-CH720n from Sony's. They're currently on sale on the Sony website for about £100, around $100 as well. You can often get them for less than that on Amazon, various other places. There's often sales on these. You can pick them up reduced from all over the place. Technical specifications, they're very light headphones. One of the reasons I got them was because they were so light. Very light. They're 192 grams. Which is substantially less than the XM4s. When I wear them, I very rarely notice pressure from the top band. There's padding. It's not a lot of padding, but there's enough in there, and I don't tend to get fatigue on top of my head. The pressure is not too much. They're new, so it's still a little bit squishy, but it's nothing terrible, and the longer I wear them, the looser they're going to get. So if anything, they will improve over time with regards to comfort, and they're already pretty good. So that's no worries about the comfort. They're very comfortable. The only tiny thing is the drivers inside. I think actually they're microphones. I've read a few people commenting on this too. In here, and I'll touch it very gently, but there's something sticking out here, and I don't think it's a driver. I think it's something else. I think it's one of the microphones for the ANC. It kind of goes along here and on both sides as well, in both ear cups. And I think that after a while, with them on your head, this will compress and compress and compress, and then you will actually feel those touching on your ears. For me, it takes about an hour for that to happen, and then I can just take the headphones off, give it 5 minutes, put them back on, and I'm good to go. Or I can just adjust them a tiny bit. If I just drop these down by another notch, it moves things around, and I generally can't feel those again for another hour or so, then I can just pop them back. Small inconvenience, but it's good to know in advance that that could be something that happens. Okay, so moving on from the weight and the comfort, just going looking at general features. They do have a cord. They have a jack that goes in here, standard 3.5mm headphone jack. If you're using the jack, the frequency response is 7 Hz up to 20,000 Hz. Using Bluetooth, it is 20 Hz to 20,000 Hz. They do work when they're turned off, although if you turn them off and plug them in, they're quite boomy, bassy, muddy sound. Whereas if you turn them on and plug them in, it will remember the previous EQ setting you had, which is really cool, actually. I really like that. It has an ambient sound mode to let in everything from outside, very useful. It supports the Sony DSCE, so it will upscale music for you. That's actually been more noticeable than I thought it would be. I can switch between the two and hear a bit more clarity in the bass, a bit more clarity up in the top end. The mids kind of stay the same for me, but bottom end and top end, turning on the DSCE upscaling, it does make a difference. It's subtle, but it is there. You also have a cord included in the box. You don't have to buy your own cord, it comes with one. It's about 1.2 meters long, I think, and it charges by USB-C. Yay, USB-C is good, we like USB-C. Regarding the battery life, if you have the noise cancelling turned on, they'll last about 35 hours. If you turn the noise cancelling off, they will do 50 hours. I've used these all of this week. I mostly had noise cancelling off, honestly. I had it turned on when I was riding on the bus because the engine got unbearable, but on the train, actually these do all right with noise cancellation off. I was trying a bit of both, see how it would go. After the full week, I'm on about 60% battery left. So I did a whole week using these commuting. I commute about 2 hours each day, maybe a little more. And I still have 60% battery left after a week of using these, so the battery life's really good and really impressive. It also states here, battery life continuous communication time. So I'm assuming that means on a call with someone, right? 35 hours ANC on and 40 hours with the ANC off, which is still very good if you're on a call for that whole time. I don't know who would be on a call for that long, but good to know the batteries will hold up. The Bluetooth is Bluetooth, we'll just double check that. Yeah, Bluetooth 5.2. And again, I think that does contribute to the long battery life. I've had no connection problems so far here. I've read people having connection dropouts with these headphones. I have experienced none of that so far. It could possibly be to do with the fact it pairs with two devices. I currently only have these connected to my phone. It's an iPhone. So possibly if I try and connect these to my computer as well, I will start noticing the Bluetooth dropout, but so far, nothing. They've been solid, no dropouts at all the whole time. They support SBC and AAC. With my iPhone, of course, it's going to be AAC the whole time. And it's been good. I mean, the range is pretty good. I've given it a bit of a test. I've had my phone, I left it in my living room and I walked all the way to the other end of my apartment. Connection was solid, no drops or clicks or anything strange. It just stayed completely connected the whole time. So good connection, solid connection, no dropping anything, and they sound great over Bluetooth as well. I'm pretty happy with them. They do have noise cancelling. Regarding the noise cancellation on these, it's not amazing. it's nothing like the XM4s. The XM4s were frankly astonishing with regards to noise cancellation. Like, I'd used noise cancellation headphones before, but the XM4s were something else. They were another level of cancellation. Everything would just disappear around me. These are a bit different. Like, they will take away pretty much all of the low-end rumble. If you're on a train or on a bus, it will just get rid of the majority of it. So middle-ish high-frequency sounds will come through the same as they would in the normal, noise cancellation off mode. The ear pads, actually, I found cut out a reasonable amount of background noise, more than the Audio-Technica headphones I tried. I think they do create a little bit of a vacuum on your ear. Like, there's a tiny, tiny bit of suction I've noticed when you put these on, which I think does actually help cancel some of the noise out. But the noise cancellation itself is not amazing. I'd say it's good for the price, and it's good when compared to other headphones of this cost, but it's not incredible. Maybe if you want to use them on a bus or on a train, these would be good. Aeroplane, I would definitely suggest XM4 or maybe the Bose Quiet Comfort, something with a bit more strength behind the ANC. But yeah, day-to-day use on a train or a bus, just walking around, these are good. I did like an unboxing in a separate video. I mean, in the box you literally get headphones wrapped in a cloth, some instructions, a connection cable and a USB-C cable. You don't get anything else there. Very simple, but I think for the price, acceptable. They do not come with a box or a storage case or a bag or anything, but I have literally just been chucking these in my rucksack, my back, for a whole week, and there's nothing on these. There's not a scratch on them. The only little mark on here is just under, I don't know if you can make that out, but just under the headphone jack. There's a little scratch going down here, and that was 100% my fault, because I pulled the headphone jack out in a silly way and it scratched down there. So it's not scratch proof. If you scrape a metal object across it, you're gonna get scratches, but it's been pretty good. In my bag, no damage, nothing, just, you'd never know that they look pretty much as they did when I got them. Moving on to the buttons. So controlling these headphones, it is very simple. You have an on-off button over there. That also does the connecting. So if you want to connect to something, you just hold it down and it will pair very easily. I've had no problems pairing these with anything. Like, my iPhone connected fine. I told it to forget the headphones. I tried again, it connected straight away. I've connected it to an iPad, albeit separately. I made it forget the phone first and then connect to the iPad. I haven't tried the dual pairing because honestly, I'm not really going to use it. I use these pretty much only with my phone. If I want to connect to a computer, I will plug them in, because then I'll have no latency. I can play games or do whatever I want with no latency once I've plugged them in. Of course, you have the power, you have USB-C charging, which is really good, really quick. I think you can plug them in for, is it 10 minutes and you get like 5 hours or something? It's pretty good for your quick charging. It's very nice. And of course the jack. On the other side, you get your media control. So you've got volume up, you've got volume down. This one will start and stop your music. This one also is responsible for skipping music. So if you press it twice, it will jump to the next track. If you press it 3 times, it will go back. And also this is used if you hold this down, it will activate any voice assistant you happen to have. I currently have it, so I hold it down and it will activate Siri, which is quite nice. Also, I've got this button, which is noise cancellation or ambient mode. So you can hit this to switch between noise cancellation or ambient mode. In the app, you can choose to add normal to that, and I have done that. So you press it and it will just jump between normal mode, noise cancelling mode, or ambient sound mode. And that's all your controls. It's pretty simple, not much to it. Nice, understandable set of headphones, which are fairly comfortable. One of the biggest benefits, in my opinion, of this particular set of headphones is the Sony app. The fact you have access to the Sony app and it lets you change the EQ. Out of the box, these sound okay, they sound all right, but a bit muddy, a bit the kind of higher bass frequencies and the lower mid frequencies are a bit pushed, and it just kind of covers up other things. It just sounds a bit muddy and blobby, just a bit kind of, everything's a little bit too far away. So a small amount of adjusting in the EQ, adding in a bit more of the high mids and the higher frequencies in general. And I actually just left it the bass as it was, and they sound good. It opened them right up, can pick out everything, very enjoyable to listen to. So yeah, they've really have impressed me with how effective the EQ in the app is. You can go through all the presets, you can hear massive differences in the sound just from flicking through those. So yeah, they're really, really nice. So overall, these have become my new commuting headphones. I use them interchangeably with these, which are the Sony, I always forget the name of these little things, the Sony WH-CH720n earbuds. So again, as with, I think I said with the XM4s, I change them depending on the weather. If it's really raining or snowing or incredibly windy or something, I will use the earbuds. But if the weather's fairly nice, if it's not raining too much or sunny day, every time I'm going to go for these. Because my commuting is a little bit of walking, a little bit of bus, a little bit of train. So these have been amazing. I really like these now. I'm quite attached to them. They come with me pretty much everywhere. Despite not having a case, they will, they lay quite flat. If I look at them from the side, they're not thick or chunky. They do slip into a bag fairly easily. And they're robust enough to survive. I mean, the plastic feels a little bit clacky, ticky, but when I'm wearing them, I don't hear them. Like, I've had some people, again, I've read comments saying they're creaky and make noise, but not really. Like, minimal noise. And that's with me, turning and turning and turning, but just when they're on your head with minimal movement. There's a little tiny bit of creaking maybe coming out of the left, but almost nothing. I mean, when I'm wearing them, I don't pick up on any of this sound. Okay, so I've got some screen recording happening of the app here for the WH-CH720n. As you can see, you've got access to play, go forward, go back, volume control, adaptive sound control as well. I currently have the adaptive sound control turned off as I generally don't use it, but you can go in and switch it on and it'll change what's happening depending on if you're walking or sitting or standing. It'll turn on the noise cancelling or adaptive, so the ambient mode, depending on what you're doing. It's quite clever, but I don't think I'll use it until it's a little bit more refined. I prefer doing things manually at the moment. So this is the first page you're greeted to when you go into the app. After setup, this is what you'll see every time you log in. If you go across to sound, you've got access to your ambient sound control. I have it set to off more than I thought I would actually. They sound very good in all three of the modes. Ambient mode has 20 different settings. I find 20 to be a little bit too kind of hissy. There's a little bit too much background noise, a bit too sibilant, so I tend to leave it around 16 or 17. It gets rid of the hiss, you can still hear everything fine. The voice pass-through thing I leave off usually. Leaving it on, you do get some voices coming through a little more, but I find having it just on normal ambient mode is totally fine. The noise cancelling is good. As I said before, it works. It generally is better at cutting out low noise or low frequencies, and yeah, it's nice to have on the headphones. Okay, I'm going to put them back to off, just leave them on off for a while. Okay, the equalizer is the best, in my opinion, best part of this app. You can go in, change things around, like I've pushed up the higher frequencies and the mids a little bit there, just to open the headphones up a little bit. You can go through all these different presets. You've got off, which makes them sound as they do when they come in the box. Bright obviously picks up the top end. Excited does sound excited. It's a bit too much for me, that one actually. And you've got so many others. There's all these different presets you can choose. You've got mellow and relaxed and all these other ones to go through. So loads of things to look at and play with. And yeah, the EQ system is really good to have that. You've got a find your equalizer thing where it will make you choose some circles that all sound different and decide what you want to hear. It was all right, not completely accurate, but nice to have. You also have the 360 reality audio setup, which you have to take photos of your ears and all kinds of things for that one. I've not used it much. It does work though, but it's not something I'll be using a whole lot, I wouldn't have thought. There's a thing where you can go in and decide if you want to have connection as your priority or sound quality as your priority. I generally leave it on sound quality because they do sound very nice, these headphones. But if you are noticing cutouts and drops, you can switch it. And then there's also the DSEE selection, so you can choose between having it off or on auto. I leave it on. I don't notice much of an impact on the battery life by having it on. They still last plenty long enough. And I do notice a difference in the sound. Whoops, there. Keep it on sound quality. I do notice a difference in having that on. So as you can see, you've also got access. It tells you the battery life you have left. It tells you the Bluetooth's connected. It tells you you're using AAC and DSE. So lots of information there. Now the last little bit you can get into is system, and you can connect to two devices. I have that turned off currently. You can choose which voice assistant you want to use. I'm currently using Siri, but you can choose Alexa if you want to and set that up, or you can just switch it off and not use it at all. You've got the controls for what the button does on the headphones. On the right ear cup, you can have noise cancelling, ambient sound, or off. You can switch those on and off however you like. You can have them always on, off if you want to. You don't have to have any of them turned on. It's quite good to have all the options. I've got my automatic power off set to 15 minutes, which is good if I'm forgetful and forget to turn the headphones off. Notification and voice guide, I have that set. I left it in Japanese because most of the time these headphones communicate with little beeps. Like when you switch modes, it makes different beeps for different things, and I very quickly, within a day, memorized what those beeps are. So it doesn't really talk to you much. If you press the power button when they're turned on, it will tell you how much battery is left. So obviously mine do that in Japanese, but you can completely easily change the language just by clicking the language you want and letting the language pack download. I've got my software automatically updating. So yeah, in short, the app's great. It's really good, pretty user-friendly. The equalizer part of it is fantastic. And I think it adds value to these headphones to have access to an equalizer system like this, because I can take headphones that sound okay and make them sound much, much better, much to more liking. Yeah, it's just a good app. I mean, you've also got this other access to the log things you've been listening to, how long you've been listening for. It tells you where you've been if you have that turned on. I don't. You can go to badges if you like collecting things, winning things. You get various badges for listening. It gives you information. It reminds you how to do things, tips. It's just so much stuff in one little headphone app, really. And yeah, as I said, it adds a lot of value to the headphones themselves. So yeah, really nice app from Sony. Really nice that you can access them on these headphones. I think the previous model, the 720Ns, did not have access to this, which was a shame. So yeah, really, really good, and really nice that this has been included with these headphones. Okay, so yeah, overall, let's put those over there. Happy with these. I will continue to use these for the next few months. I might make another video if I end up moving to something else or find a problem, but so far these have been very good. So my name is Iron, this is Iron's Tech, and thank you for watching.